I didn't think I'd ever hear my wife say the words, "You should support me, even if I'm spiritually dating someone else." But she did. Dead serious. And somehow, I was the bad guy for being upset. She called it an elevated connection. I called it emotional infidelity with extra incense. She wanted me to keep paying rent while she went to sacred retreats with a man who introduced himself as River. At first, I stayed quiet. I watched. But if you stick around till the end, you'll understand exactly how I turned her little enlightenment journey into a public reckoning. Let's just say her soulmate didn't see it coming. My name's Dan, I'm 34, and I work in IT in Seattle. I'm not the type who yells or storms out. I'm the handle it logically kind of guy, or at least I used to be. My wife, Melissa, is, or was, a yoga instructor turned spiritual coach. The kind with crystals on every windowsill and a healing tea for every inconvenience. We'd been married 5 years. No kids, but we had plans. Bought a 2-bedroom, rescued a pit mix named Luna, and I honestly thought we were solid. Things shifted during COVID. She got deep into online retreats, tarot sessions, energy realignment Zooms. I figured it was a phase. A weird phase, but harmless. Spoiler, it was not harmless. When she told me she'd met someone named River at a chakra cleansing seminar in Sedona, I didn't panic. At first, she swore it wasn't physical, just soul deep. But when she asked me to support her emotionally and financially while she explored this bond, I knew something was broken. What followed? A slow-motion collapse, and then the most meticulous revenge I've ever pulled off. By the way, if you've ever felt gaslit by someone hiding behind emotional honesty, stick with me. And hey, if it hits close to home, share it. Someone out there might need to know they're not crazy. I remember the exact moment everything snapped. Melissa walked into the kitchen wearing a flowy white shawl that made her look like she'd just returned from leading a cult, not a yoga session. She was humming. Peaceful. Too peaceful. "I met someone," she said, sipping her lavender tea. "His name is River." I blinked. "Someone like a new client?" She smiled. "No, a kindred spirit. We connected during the heart-opening ceremony. It's not what you think, Dan. It's spiritual." Oh, that word again. Spiritual. Like some magic eraser for common sense. I set down my coffee. "Melissa, are you saying you're seeing someone?" No, she said quickly. "Not like that. We haven't even touched. It's just energy. It's hard to explain unless you've had a tantric alignment with someone who shares your past life frequency." "What the actual hell does that mean?" She laughed like I was being dramatic. "Dan, I'm not cheating on you. I'm evolving. River and we're exploring a soul connection." My mouth went dry. "So what does that mean for us?" She sighed, like I was the difficult one. "It means I need your support while I figure this out." "And by support you mean?" She looked at me with those earnest, condescending eyes. "Rent, bills, emotional space. I need to be free to discover my higher self without feeling trapped in material expectations." "So let me get this straight," I said, standing now. "You want me to fund your spiritual affair?" "It's not an affair, Dan. Stop being so linear." My jaw clenched. "Linear? That's rich." She walked over and put a hand on my chest. "You're safe, Dan. I'm not going anywhere. I just need room to breathe." I didn't say anything. I just nodded. Because in that moment, I knew. If I spoke, I'd explode. But inside, something flipped. I wasn't just hurt. I was insulted. She thought I'd roll over. She thought I'd keep paying the mortgage while she texted River under moonlight and posted about sacred masculinity on Instagram. That night, while she was doing a Zoom ceremony with her soul group, I poured myself a whiskey, opened my laptop, and started digging. River wasn't just some free spirit. He was a grifter. And if she thought I'd be her wallet while she transcended, she was about to find out how deeply grounded I could get. I started with the only lead I had, River's name. Not a legal name, of course. His Instagram was @RiverAwakens. His bio read, "Sacred Masculine Guide, Plant Medicine Facilitator, Lover of All Vibes." Classic. I scrolled through his posts. Shirtless selfies in nature, fire circles, captions like, "Holding space for the divine feminine," and "Your trauma is not your identity, babe." Melissa had liked every single one. The worst part? The comments. Dozens of women, including my wife, praising him like he was some kind of emotional messiah. But then I saw it. A link in his bio. Offerings and energy exchange. I clicked it. Venmo. PayPal. A Patreon with 3 tiers. $25 per month. Weekly journal downloads. $100 per month. Personal energy readings. $300 per month. One-on-one soul guidance with River. My stomach turned. I opened Melissa's financial app. We still had joint accounts, for now. And sure enough, 2 payments labeled soul guidance with River from our shared checking. $600. Gone. I took screenshots. That evening, while she was out at a sound bath ceremony, I went into her office. Candles everywhere. A crystal grid. A book titled The Ethical Polyamory Path sat on her desk with sticky notes. One of them read, "Talk to Dan about opening relationship, gently." I closed the door, locked it, and got to work. First, I cloned River's entire online presence. Web archive, screen recordings, everything. I had a hunch this wasn't his first soul connection. I reached out to a few women who had commented on his posts. I didn't come at them angry, just curious. 2 replied the next day. One had held ceremony with River in Oregon. Another said she'd just stopped talking to him because he asked for a $500 moon alignment donation after one date. She called him spiritually manipulative. Now I had a pattern, but I couldn't blow it yet. Melissa still thought I was sulking in silence. So when she got home, I acted tired. Quiet. She lit incense and sat on the couch cross-legged. "I know this is hard for you," she said softly, "but I appreciate you not reacting with anger. That's growth." Oh, I was growing all right. I smiled faintly and said, "I'm just trying to support you." And that night, I created a burner account. Not to confront River. Not yet. To become his next client. I called myself Willow. And I booked a one-on-one soul session. Booking a session with River was disturbingly easy. Within 10 minutes of sending the $300 PayPal payment from my burner, I got a reply. "Blessings, Willow. I'm so honored to walk beside you on your journey. Let's align this Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific. Bring tea, candles, and an open heart. River." I fought the urge to vomit. Sunday rolled around. I set up a spare laptop, connected with a VPN, used a voice modulator to sound like a slightly raspy woman in her late 30s. Not too exaggerated. Just enough to be believable. He joined the call shirtless. "Again. Willow," he breathed. "Your energy feels wounded yet radiant. I could tell just from your message that you've been carrying pain. Are you open to releasing it with me?" I played along. "I'm trying, but men keep betraying my trust." He nodded solemnly. Trust issues often stem from our root chakra. The masculine energy in your life may be blocked or misaligned. But that's why I'm here. To guide. To hold space. It took everything I had not to scream. But I kept going. Over the next 45 minutes, River led me through breathing exercises, vague affirmations, and a guided visualization where I walked barefoot through a golden forest of my inner truth. He kept complimenting my voice and told me I was ready to evolve. Then came the kicker. "I feel like we've met before, Willow. In another life. I don't usually say this, but there's a pull between us." Bingo. I leaned in. "Have you ever felt this way about anyone else recently?" He chuckled. "You'd be surprised how many women I connect with. But they all come to me for a reason. Some try to possess me, which blocks their growth. But a few, they let go of control. They let me be." I asked, "Even if they're married?" He didn't miss a beat. "Marriage is a construct. Love is infinite." I ended the call with some fake tears and gratitude. He asked if I'd be open to an in-person ceremony. I said maybe. Then I downloaded the entire Zoom recording. That night, Melissa lit candles and said she had news. "I think River and I are ready for the next step. He wants to meet in person. Maybe Sedona again." "Sounds magical," I said. She smiled, touched my arm. "You're being so supportive lately. It means the world." I looked her right in the eye. "Of course. I'm just letting go of control." She actually teared up. And I knew. The trap was set. A week later, Melissa handed me a printed document. She'd even stapled it. "What's this?" I asked, flipping through. She smiled nervously. I thought, since we're entering a new phase, maybe it's time we restructured our arrangement. It was titled, Household Contribution and Autonomy Agreement. I kid you not. Bullet points included. Dan agrees to maintain financial responsibility for rent, utilities, and groceries. Melissa is entitled to personal spiritual exploration without judgment or control. River is recognized as a non-invasive energy partner, not subject to marital limitation. All conflicts must be discussed via sacred conversation circles, using nonviolent communication templates. There was even a section on sexual sovereignty. I flipped to the last page. There was a signature line and space for a notary. I looked at her deadpan. You want me to sign a document saying you can date a guy named River while I pay your phone bill? It's not dating, she said quickly. It's embodiment of self. And you're not paying my phone bill. You're supporting my rebirth. I almost laughed. Almost. Melissa, is this legally binding? It could be, she said brightly. If we both agree in spirit. I folded the paper. I'll think about it. That night, I sent the document to a lawyer friend, Sarah. We hadn't talked in months, but I knew she'd be interested. She texted back within an hour. Is this a joke? Also, tell me everything. I did. She replied again. Give me a week. I've got an idea. Meanwhile, I kept playing the supportive husband. I even helped Melissa shop for her upcoming Sedona reconnection. She was glowing, blissed out, totally unaware. Until River posted something on Instagram. A selfie. Shirtless, of course. With a caption. Guiding another sacred queen into wholeness. The masculine heals when it surrenders. Guess who was in the background of the photo? A different woman. Not Melissa. I showed her the post casually over breakfast. She blinked. Scrolled. Read the comments. Then locked herself in the bathroom for an hour. I knocked gently. Everything okay? She snapped, he's poly. It's fine. This is part of the journey. Sure, I thought. It's your journey. I'm just footing the gas bill. Sarah called later that night. I've got something, she said. But you'll need to play this next part carefully. You ready? I've been ready since chakra alignment. What's the plan? She laughed. We're going to flip the sacred script. And legally, bury this guy. Sarah's plan was genius. Turns out, River's little side hustle wasn't as free-flowing as he claimed. He'd registered an LLC in Arizona. River Awakenings, LLC. Listed as an alternative wellness provider. That meant two things. He was legally operating as a business. He had to follow business regulations, especially when it came to money. Sarah pulled up the records. River had no insurance. No licenses for medical, psychological, or spiritual counseling. No disclaimers on his website. And he was charging hundreds for sessions. That's where it got fun. We updated the Willow persona. I sent River a long, emotional email claiming I'd had a breakdown after our session, and that I was now processing trauma you triggered. I asked for a refund. He replied, I'm not responsible for how clients integrate the work. My offerings are non-refundable. All is guided by the universe. We now had proof he was offering unlicensed therapy services and denying responsibility. Sarah drafted a complaint for the Arizona Board of Behavioral Health. We weren't suing yet, but this would trigger an investigation. She also contacted two women who'd previously interacted with River. One of them had screenshots of him giving dietary advice that led to an allergic reaction. We compiled everything. But we needed one more thing, public exposure. So I created a site, riverunmasked.com. A clean, simple landing page. Nothing defamatory. Just screenshots, client testimonials, Venmo receipts, and an invitation for others to share their stories. I didn't make it public yet. Not yet. First, I told Melissa I wanted to attend her next retreat, as a sign of support. She lit up. Oh my God, really? You're finally opening. Yeah, I said. I think it's time I evolve, too. She signed us both up for River's upcoming Weekend of Divine Embodiment in Sedona. $900 a head. I paid for both tickets. Smiling. The retreat was held at a rented Airbnb in the desert, with woven floor mats, gongs, and a sweaty River in linen pants. He didn't recognize me, of course. I wore sunglasses, grew my beard out, and kept my hood up most of the time. Melissa introduced me as Daniel, the awakening husband. River gave me a shallow nod. I gave him a smile like a wolf in a meat locker. That weekend, I recorded everything. He offered breathwork sessions, trauma guidance, spiritual body mapping, all while accepting wads of cash. One woman even handed him an envelope labeled donation, $2,000. I had it all on camera. By Sunday night, I uploaded everything to riverunmasked.com. Then I sent the link, anonymously, to everyone on his Patreon mailing list. The feedback? Instant. By Monday morning, River's Instagram was flooded with angry comments. Melissa walked into the living room holding her phone like it was on fire. Did you see this? Someone's attacking River online. I took a sip of coffee. Wow, that's wild. She looked at me. Suspicious. then quietly afraid. She had no idea what was coming next. By Tuesday, the fallout was volcanic. River posted a panicked video on Instagram, sitting cross-legged by a waterfall. His voice was shaky. The caption read, "The divine is testing me. Lies are being spread. The wounded masculine seeks to destroy what it doesn't understand. I will rise, but I need your energy now more than ever." Comments were split. Half were blindly supportive. The other half, not so much. "You charged me $300 to rebirth me in a tent, bro. You told me I had womb trauma, and I'm a guy." RiverUnmasked.com. Enough said. Melissa was spiraling. She kept pacing the house, lighting sage like it was a fire extinguisher. "People are attacking his energy field," she muttered. She tried to call him. No answer. She texted. No reply. I watched her unravel like a hand-woven hammock on fire. That evening, we sat down for dinner, quinoa, and something called chakra stew. She hadn't touched her food. "He's being targeted," she said. "This is a spiritual witch hunt." I shrugged. "Didn't he say he doesn't believe in labels like victim?" She shot me a look. "You're being smug." "No," I said calmly. "I'm being grounded. You told me to try it." She got up and stormed into her office. An hour later, she emerged with a letter in her hand, trembling. "It's a cease and desist," she whispered. "From River." I raised an eyebrow. "To who?" "To me," she said, blinking. "He thinks I leaked something, that I betrayed him." I leaned forward. "Did you?" She was silent. Her voice cracked. "He says I compromised the sacred container. He blocked me on everything." And that was the crack. The moment the glass facade started shattering. Melissa, who once told me River was her soul twin from a past life, now looked like a woman who just got dumped by her Uber driver. She sat on the couch and started sobbing. For a brief second, I almost felt bad. But then I remembered. This was the same woman who handed me a notarized form asking me to fund her soul dating budget. So I sat down beside her, handed her a tissue, and said, "Maybe he wasn't as aligned as you thought." She looked up. "You never liked him?" I shrugged. "I never liked MLMs either. Doesn't mean I wanted them to crash this hard." She didn't answer. 2 hours later, I heard the sound of something smashing in her office. I walked in and saw her crystal lamp shattered on the floor. The book on the ethical polyamory path lay in the trash. That night, she slept on the couch. I slept like a rock. But the final act hadn't started yet. I was just getting warmed up. Because while River spiraled publicly, I had one more card to play. And this one involved the IRS. River had one fatal flaw. He loved money almost as much as he loved attention. Between PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, and in-person retreats, Sarah and I estimated he was pulling in at least $12,000 a month, tax-free, of course. See, spiritual guidance isn't illegal. Charging for unlicensed therapy while not reporting your income? That's a different story. I compiled every screenshot, financial record, and Venmo receipt I could. Willow had kept tidy logs. So had Melissa, unknowingly. I even recorded the moment River accepted an envelope of cash during the retreat and said, "We don't need paperwork. The universe sees all." Yeah, well, so does the IRS. Sarah helped me file a whistleblower report. It was anonymous, legal, and thorough. We even attached a link to riverunmasked.com. I expected it would take months to trigger anything. But then came a little miracle. Turns out, River had applied for pandemic relief funds back in 2020 and lied about his income. The IRS had already flagged him. Our report was the cherry on top. Within 2 weeks, his Patreon was frozen. A post appeared on his Instagram. Taking a digital sabbatical. Too much toxicity. Rebalancing with Mother Gaia. Will return when the frequencies settle. Translation: he was in trouble. Melissa read the post in silence. She hadn't spoken much since the cease and desist. Her yoga clients had started canceling. Some of them had followed River too. One even emailed her the link to riverunmasked.com with the subject line, "WTF, Melissa?" She tried to spin it at first. He's misunderstood. He's being persecuted. But her voice lacked conviction. A few nights later, I found her deleting old Instagram posts. All the ones with River. All the Divine Union captions. Gone. Doing a cleanse? I asked. She didn't look up. Just recalibrating. I nodded. Good idea. Gotta keep those energies clear. She flinched. The final blow came from our bank. Remember those $600 payments Melissa made from our joint account? Yeah, I filed a claim. Reported them as unauthorized. Technically, She didn't have my permission, and I had the messages to prove it. The bank refunded me. She got a notice in the mail. That night, she sat me down, pale, hollow-eyed. Dan, do you want a divorce? I tilted my head. Do you? She hesitated. I don't know anymore. Well, I said, getting up, I do. And I've already talked to a lawyer. I left her there, in the middle of her healing altar, surrounded by smoke, debt, and broken dreams. River disappeared from the internet a few days later. And just like that, the sacred bond dissolved, like incense in a stiff wind. The mediation took place in a downtown office. No candles, no sage, no energy alignment mats. Just fluorescent lighting, coffee breath, and legal paperwork. Melissa looked smaller than I remembered. She wore neutral tones, no flowy scarves, no glittering chakras on her wrists. Just a beige cardigan and that tight, forced smile you give when you're losing control and trying to pretend you're not. My lawyer, Sarah, opened with the joint asset breakdown. Melissa interrupted. I'd like to speak first. The mediator nodded. She cleared her throat. I just want to say this process doesn't represent who we are. I still believe we can part consciously and with compassion. Sarah leaned over and whispered. She's still on the Gwyneth Paltrow script. I kept a straight face. Melissa went on. I'm willing to surrender my half of the savings, but I'd like to retain access to the house, at least temporarily, while I stabilize. Energetically, I spoke calmly. Melissa, you drained our savings for a retreat where you let a man named River whisper affirmations into your third eye. The mediator's eyebrow twitched. Melissa looked like I'd slapped her. That's unfair. Sarah cut in. Dan has already covered legal fees, the mortgage for 3 months, and you received a $6,000 refund after our claim. He's offering you clean separation with no pursuit of damages, which, frankly, he'd be entitled to. Silence. Melissa folded her hands. I didn't know it would end like this. Neither did I. But I also hadn't expected to be spiritually cucked by a barefoot life coach with a man bun. I'll sign, she said quietly. And she did. We walked out of that building under gray Seattle skies. She turned to me at the corner. For what it's worth, I hope you find someone who aligns with your frequency. I looked her dead in the eye. I'm good with Wi-Fi and direct deposits. Thanks. She laughed once, hollow, almost relieved, then walked away. No ceremony, no ritual, just footsteps on wet pavement. That night, I got home to a half-empty apartment. Luna, our pit mix, greeted me with her usual tail-wagging chaos. She chose me. Melissa had asked if we could split time, and I said, she's not a crystal, Melissa. I sat on the couch with a beer in hand and my dog at my feet. The incense was gone. So was the pretension. And for the first time in a long time, the air felt real. Final. 6 months later, River resurfaced, in a mugshot. Turns out, the IRS took our little whistleblower file seriously. Tax evasion, fraud, and a few wellness-related misunderstandings involving unlicensed therapy landed him in court. Not prison, but enough legal trouble to bankrupt his soul guidance empire. Melissa moved to Santa Cruz. Last I heard, she was taking time to heal and rediscover her boundaries. She sent me a long email once, filled with metaphors about phoenixes and ocean tides. I never replied. As for me, I kept the house, got a raise, started dating someone who doesn't believe Mercury can ruin your career, and I sleep like a baby. If there's a moral to this mess, it's this. Just because someone uses the word energy doesn't mean they're not draining yours. And if your spouse ever says, you should support me, even if I'm spiritually dating someone else, don't argue. Just start recording and call your lawyer.